Hello, Peter the Roman American coming to you from Newark, New Jersey. This is part two of my talk on human spiritual evolution development. If you recall, part one introduced the idea of humankind's best spiritual essence beginning in the Garden of Eden. Excuse my choice of language. I don't mean to offend Hindus or any other faith system. It just seems to me that from that root, although a lot of bad stuff had fallen, the greatest stuff in the universe came to pass as far as humankind is concerned. Our Savior brother stemmed from that root. So, all right. So we talked about the Garden of Eden and how sin and offending God was introduced into the mix as a result of free will and free choice with Adam and Eve, and the prohibition that he was given and that they freely chose to ignore, but then accepted no responsibility for, sought to blame the other as much as possible. A complete lack of love in every regard, and that love issue is. You remember when I was a kid, there was an old commercial saying Starkist doesn't want tunas with good taste, doesn't want tunas that taste. They don't want good. It's right the first time. Don't want tunas with good taste. They want tunas that taste good. Well, heaven has a want for humankind that chooses to love, that chooses love above all other choice. And this is what enables us to progress from being a human onto our next level of life, our next level of existence, which is as far above human life as, well, as a caterpillar is beneath a butterfly. Caterpillar, butterfly, at one time they were one creature, and then at a certain point, those that survived were enabled to become the butterflies. They are butterflies are as far above caterpillars' existence as our next life, the new life, the life like the angels live, is above our born human existence. Okay, so we left it off, I think, at the Garden of Eden last time, and from that time, moving on a few thousand years, both the descendants of Adam and Eve and the other people that were living, already living and having civilization and what have you, in existence on this earth already, according to the biblical record anyway, that the father of faith came along. The father of faith is a fellow known as Abram. They say that he's the father of faith because, well, out of all the many people that were in the world that day, it seemed he was the only one that chose to believe in the one who would later call himself Yahweh. The one true God. And Abraham took his faith, and his faith prospered, and his faith was tested, and a few times he failed the tests. But by the time he got to his end point, he did a lot of good. What did he do? He established the Jewish bloodline and the Islamic bloodline. According to the legend, Abraham's the father of two children, Isaac and Ishmael. Now, you might remember Isaac as being the one that, during one of the tests, the Lord said, Abraham, take Isaac over there, and he's going to be the sacrifice this time around. And Abraham was sad because he was over 100 years old, according to the record at this time, and his wife was even older, and they didn't believe they could even have a baby at that age. And then when it did happen, to have to go ahead and sacrifice was very hurtful. Anyway, he did it. He got his knife, he sharpened it up, took his kid, and was going to slay him. The angel of the Lord stopped him in time, thank heavens. Gave him the sacrifice, the sheep, to chop up and to do what the ritual said to be done. And so that worked out fine. Anyway, Isaac is said to have started the bloodline, the Jewish bloodline, and Ishmael. That's New York City subway, by the way. And Ishmael is is said to be the father of Muhammad's descendants. Okay. Abraham's descendants got put into captivity twice. Abraham's descendants on Isaac's side got put into slavery twice. Once with Babylonian, where the Tower of Babel came from, and then another time, then they got freed from that, and then another time the Egyptians put them into bondage. In each of those times, they were sold out by some of their own. Yes, they were. Okay, so let's continue the story at the part where Yahweh introduces himself, calls himself by name, translating to I am that I am. The most perfect present tense. The one who is now. Now. Not before, not in the future. Now. The perfect now. Because you'll see as we continue on in this that it is now that matters more than anything else. It is what we do now that matters the most. So Egypt took the Jewish people, the Hebrews, took them prisoner, made them slaves, had them build their idols and stuff. And at a certain point, Yahweh found Moses. And there's a long story, but I'm not going to go into Moses' history. It's incidental. It doesn't matter. What matters is that as an old man, Yahweh called on to Moses, and Moses said, "Okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but you want me to do it, I'll do it." And then he did. Him and his brother Aaron were instructed to go and tell the boss of Egypt, the old Pharaoh guy, in the house of Ramses, to let the Jewish people go. Let them go. Get them out of their bondages. Ramses said, no. We don't never give up equity. Human or otherwise. No. And then the plagues came upon them. Terrible, horrific plagues came upon them. And ultimately, after he lost his own son, it took a great deal for him to realize that he was messing with the very, very wrong God. I mean, Egypt had many gods, and he thought they were protecting him. Not quite. Yahweh is better than all the rest, in my humble opinion. So what happened is ultimately the people of Israel were released from their bondage in Egypt and sent on their merry way. And then Pharaoh changed his mind and wanted to to get his people back, and then their slaves back, and then they followed him into the Red Sea that got opened up because of Moses' prayer, but then got closed back up and filled with water after the Hebrews cleared it. And that's what happened. And so the people were growing in number, and it came time for Yahweh to make a deal. A lot of the people were acting on faith up until that point. That's where the story of Passover comes from. They were acting on faith like Father Abraham, and they were doing as good as they could, and that's terrific. And but the time came for the official deal, the official contract, the official covenant between Moses, and Moses is delivered to the people between heaven and earth. And there were 10 commandments, and I'm sure you know what they are. And from those 10 commandments, as the people of Israel were walking around in the circle in the desert for a few generations, actually. That number of contracted obligations grew to to over 600. I think it's 634, I think. You'll find them in Deuteronomy and Leviticus. And you'll see, if you study it, that there are so many rules that conflict with each other that just don't make sense. That there definitely may have been a good idea at one time, but there's no way that they should be considered an eternal regulation. But anyway, what can you do? By the time 2012 years ago came, by the time human redemption came into town in the form of Yahweh's own son, Yeshua, this is the picture of the Shroud of Turin, a computer-aided rendition of the man in the Shroud of Turin, the witness to the resurrection. By the time that time came around, the secular leadership, the civilian leadership, and the religious leadership of Israel was fully corrupted. Absolutely could not be more corrupted. They were capitulating, cooperating, collaborating willingly with the Roman pagan overlords. The King Herod, the religious Sanhedrin. The religious Sanhedrin did the classic Roman division. They took the religious ideas and they split them down the middle, and they had Sadducees representing and defending half, and then they had the Pharisees representing and defending the other half, and between them they kept the people divided. And then our Savior brother came and he corrected. First of all, he lived 30 years and broke no rule. He qualified for redeeming humankind by living every rule, living his life according to every rule that was established, breaking none of them, and at that point was able to rewrite the covenant, the law between heaven and humankind. And he did. He spent 3 years in his ministry correcting the record, teaching the people what needed to be known, showing the people the errors that needed to be corrected, and gave them the good stuff to build upon. And then one Passover, his last Passover, he gave to humankind a new covenant. He said, this is the new law. He said, love one another like I love you. How much does he love us? Here is this man, this innocent man, who broke no rule, who had no real obligation to anyone else on earth. He wasn't married, he didn't have kids. He did as his father, as our father Yahweh said to do, and he loved us. He came to us, he lived with us, he healed us, he still heals us. He ended the chains and the shackles that were holding us down, the sin barrier that was created in the Garden of Eden. He ended that. What was born with disobedience and treachery and anti-love was ended by his fidelity and his faithfulness and his purest love. And we have no more sin bond because of that. We are not born into sin. Every sin that we may pick up along the way, it's our own original sin. And every one of them are easily forgiven. We just have to want forgiveness. We have an obligation to love. That is the job we were given. In order to move on, to develop, to progress spiritually, we have to love, and we have to make our love perfect. You don't want to love? Don't love. But if you don't love, do not expect more than a dirt nap at the end of your biological life. Don't. I don't care what religious community you're a part of. Doesn't matter to me. The truth of the matter is, no one advances into our Creator Father's house unless we make our love real good. Listen, it was nice talking to you. I hope you have a peaceful day, and chat with you next time.